If there is something that scares me about raising children abroad, it is the identity issue, especially a country where people do not have this color. The thing is that even the place that they are originally from, like their parents are from, they still cannot relate to that. Let me introduce myself quickly. My name is Bola, bored extrovert living in Italy. So on this channel, I do lifestyle content, I do chit chats, I do cooking, I just talk about things generally. Please make sure that you subscribe. Please subscribe. If there is something that scares me about raising children abroad, it is the identity issue. So I've actually come across social media of some like adults or young adults who grew up in diaspora. Most of them, let me use African because I'm African. Let's say Nigeria or Ghana, that they grew up in diaspora. And if you see like their content, because I've not really met one personally, so I'm going to go based off their social media presence. So I don't want to see anything off data. So going by what they post on their social media, you can see that they really lack identity. We that we grew up in Africa or wherever it is that we are from, before we relocated to any other country that we are living in, we are already grounded in our identity. So you might not be able to relate 100%, except you sit back and you really think very well that you'll be able to grasp the gravity of what I have just said. So there are some children that, so for instance, I'm a Nigerian. I know that about myself for a fact. Not only am I Nigerian, I am a Yoruba lady. Now, not only am I a Yoruba lady, I am from Osun State. I know where I'm from. I know who I am. Like, in fact, there is a story of how we Yoruba people came about. Like, there is a story of the creation story that we have in the Bible. We also have like a creation story for Yoruba people as well. Like, that's how much of an information I have about where I'm from. So I don't have any confusion about who I am. So right from when I've grown up, I grew up in Nigeria. Right from when I've grown up, my identity is surrounding me. I know who I am. I am surrounded by my identity. My parents are identity. My neighbor is like a representation of my identity. I know my history. I know so many things about me. So I'm not confused. If you wake me up today, who are you? I know who I am. Especially when it comes to like identity of where I am from. I don't have any confusion on my identity. I know who I am. So there's like a demography of some people online. I don't want to mention names so it doesn't get like controversial. There's a demography of some people online that today they want to be referred to this and this. Tomorrow, no, we don't want to associate with those people again. Now we are called this and this. And some people are always calling them problematic. They have issues. Why are they so dramatic? This, yada, yada, yada. But I actually do understand them. I understand them because it is not easy that for you to understand who you are, for you to know your identity, you have to like read history. You have to get somebody to explain your identity to you. You have to hear say like there's a diversity of everybody have like a like if you see people from that demography of people, when they talk, if like, especially those ones that are very that like to talk about like issues happening in their country or issues that has to do with their identity, if you come in contact with like different content creator or people that speak on these things in different ways, you'll see that a lot of them actually have different ideology on who they are. So even like there's no unison theory on their identity. So why don't you think those people will be confused? So this one will do their research and feel like, okay, this is what I pick. I don't want to associate with this. And don't forget that when you want to come to conclusion of research, your emotion is going to play a part as well. So maybe right now I'm very irritated with people that are from this region, and my ancestry is saying that I'm part of these people. You put your emotion in play. In fact, you will center your research on who am I in detachment from these people that they are trying to attach me with. I don't want to be one of them. So you come to a conclusion that shows that you have an identity that is outside of these people, and you run along with it and you will preach it. So these ones now don't have issue with this demography of people. They'll be like, no, they might center their own research on their finding their identity with these people in picture, and when they find out like facts and data on that, they'll run with it like, oh, this is who I am, I know who I am, and they'll run with that as their identity in relation to these people. So can you see that there's already diverse ideology on identity? So these people will be confused, especially the young ones growing up. They'll be like, okay, so older folks, can you just pick a side? Who are we? I'm confused. So they do their research and just come up with who they are. So you can't blame, well, I'm already getting into something else entirely. So now let me get back to why I'm making this video. If you are a parent that have raised your children abroad to some extent, or that you are, let me use Nigerian, let me just say West African, let me say West African. If you are West African and you have children abroad, like they were born in any country at all that is not your country, especially a country where people do not have this color, that's where you have your children, and you think that your children are grounded in their identity, they are not confused, they don't look to you like they don't know who they are, like they are confused about who they are or anything, you are sure about that, please, I really want to know how you are able to raise children that are so wholesome and complete in themselves and do not lack identity. Because I have seen some of them online, and some of them are actually spiraling online, and they call it content. Sometimes you see today they are talking about their mental health, they are crying on camera, tomorrow they are talking about maybe racism, or they don't feel like they belong. And the thing is that even the place that they are originally from, like their parents are from, they still cannot relate to that place too, because they didn't grow up there. They don't really have like more, apart from maybe like their small circle where they relate, maybe they have like friends from that same place, probably going through the same identity issue as them. So they come together and discuss the identity in confusion. So the confusion continues to go on, and maybe their parents are not able to establish that identity that they need for them. So unfortunately, these people grew up lacking identity. I hope I've not lost you. Like, these children grow up lacking identity. Once, like I was saying before, so the parents that have raised children that are wholesome, they don't have identity issue, please, in the comment section, I would like you to just give like, what did you do? Like, how did you do it? Especially for those of us who are just having children, who our children are still very young, they are still toddlers, babies, infants, and all of that. So that by the time they are growing, we can also take like one or two things from what you have suggested, and we'll start implementing this in our children as well. Because this identity thing is, sometimes I've been trying to do my own research as well, like sometimes I think about it and I want to get overwhelmed, like I want to get anxious, like I don't want my baby to have identity issue, I don't want it, like nobody wants that for their children. Because I can see the way some other people who have it are spiraling online, it actually like affects the quality of their life constantly. Well, let me go into that, because it can spiral into another conversation or discourse entirely that I'm not ready to get into. So let me just stay on topic. So if you have like advice, something that you can tell us, I'm sure people who have children who have children like outside of their own country, like in diaspora, I'm sure they are also reading the comments and they're going to learn one or two things from it. And more, me, I'm going to learn a whole lot. Please, I want you to share your thoughts on this, like not your thought, like what you did, like how did you do it? Because raising children abroad, trying to find a balance in their identity, is not a joke. For instance, I am living in Italy, and Italy is actually a place that has it, like its culture on its own. It's a cultured country. It has its language entirely. So like if for whatever reason, God forbid, you are not able to teach your children how to speak, maybe speak like English, they can only speak Italian. Do you know how more confused and lacking of identity how more confused they will be? Because now, let's say for instance, because thank God for social media, one way that you can interact with your origin through social media. So you can like maybe go into blogs or pages of people that are from your home country, your birth country, and you can try to maybe see their content to understand where you are from, or travel back home, have conversations. Because if you travel back home, you cannot communicate because you can only speak Italian, you can't speak English, like you still cannot relate. It's just like you are seeing things but you don't understand what you are seeing. But at least if you can communicate with people, you'll be able to integrate more, like with where you are from. So like that thing is something that I will not like to use, a little bit worrisome for me when I think about it. Like that identity issue, except to experience not having identity, you might not know the gravity of what it is for somebody to exist without knowing who they are, because that's basically what lack of identity is. You don't know who you are. You can say that your skin color is different from these people, so I am not them. In fact, they themselves will tell you directly that. And this is not even just about racism. You are different, you are not them. That's the truth, because they will still tell you directly that you are not them. Even if your passport says otherwise, they will tell you that, do you share my DNA? Do you share the same ancestors? No. So you are not one of us. You just happen to be born here, think like us. So, well, some people will even argue that you don't even think like them, because when you go back to the four corners of your house, is your birth country. Like, that's where you are returning to. Maybe I'm reading comment section of people who are lacking identity so much that is affecting. Maybe I need to, well, I've actually laled on, because there was a time I realized that I'm having so much anxiety. I still have a baby. I've not even started. My baby is not growing yet, so I'm having this much anxiety. Like, how am I going to raise her? So can I just calm down? So please just tell us if you have like any suggestion, or if you yourself, your baby is not even grown yet, but you've been doing your research and you already know that you want to implement this and this. Please, I want to know in the comment section. Please, 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 please tell me what the things that maybe that you have come up with, your whatever, to just help your children to have identity. Please tell me in the comment section. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Bola, the bored extrovert living in Italy. Bye.